Remember that. Take titles off of people and look at them for who they are. And if they are here to drain you and destroy the work that you did, you better monitor it correctly. It will suck the life out of you, and you will have to start over, and they're gonna go on being the same broken, dysfunctional, toxic person that they are, all because you think that you're loving them, and God said that is not your business.
Welcome to a very, very special episode of All Things with Chanae Lavette. I am your host, Chanae Lavette, and y'all, we are live at Envision Me Conference 2025. Okay? So in case y'all didn't know in the audience, y'all are going to be on the Chanae Lavette show. Okay? So if you didn't know, now you know. Y'all, I'm so excited to be here to speak to you about love, right? And I could have easily invited mental health providers, therapists, all those things. But I thought to myself, who better to talk about this topic with than the people that I love, right? And so today I have my big sister, that's right, Shirley's. I have my husband. That's my man, y'all.
Say that part again.
I got my husband, Mike Wood, on the stage with me. Yeah. And of course, I have Sandy Judson, a very good family friend of ours. Yeah. And all three of them, in their own respective places, have just navigated relationships, whether it was romantic relationships or just friendships, things of that nature in different ways, relationships with families. And so that's what we're getting into. I want to start first with you, Sandy, right? You have a very unique story, and parts of it that you shared with me, you know, it had me in tears. But yet you have this huge, big personality full of so much love. Share with us a little about how your childhood experiences have impacted who you are today.
Okay. Y'all ready? Yeah. I want to make knowledge first that my mama here. Mama Forshie, that's my mama. But I want to let you know, Mama, I'm going to do my best. I promise you, James 3:10, okay? I'm going to do my best to make sure this tongue come unto the Lord, okay? I promise. All right, so if you hear the pretty hot and tempting breathing, the dance was worth it. But my childhood was rough, and it has definitely been in therapy for 11 years. It has been an amazing, how can you say, revert. Because what's supposed to took me out actually is so much of my foundation that I thought I needed to be ashamed of, right? And because there's so many things that made me raw before time and grow up. So with that, taking all these things in and not being ashamed anymore, it became the woman you see right now. And I'm just so bold, don't care. And since the enemy, first of all, because he knew I was going to be this woman, he was mad. He thought that he was going to use it to make me shame. He thought he was going to do it to make me be locked into some space where I'm depressed. But this on TV, I'll say Negro. He didn't know that I was going to take these obstacles and challenges that he brought before me, and I was going to put it on his neck and gave him a run. And it's made me this resilient, beautiful creature that I am right now. And he didn't know that I was going to get to know my Abba, my daddy, and I was really going to show out. And then now he mad because I don't give him no ammunition, none whatsoever. I comfort him every day with my praise, not with my fight, because my natural get whooped by him, but my spirit, I whoop that nigga behind. You hear me? I beat him every day. He don't want to see me wake up. He be like, oh, there she go. Yep. Yeah, I'm here. And that's what I do. Now, how that came over into, that's what the other part was. Because I was really trying to come for him, and I wanted him to know publicly that I was coming for him. So what was the second part of that?
Well, I wanted to know how your childhood influenced who you are, but let it be known. I guess you set this tone for where we at. Okay, yeah. But how did your childhood influence who you become as a woman in terms of how you overcome it?
Okay, so the overcoming part it was crazy. First, me becoming a teen mom. So I became a teen mom, and I fell in love with this little baby that needed me. I didn't want her at first. God knows I didn't want to share anything. And anybody from the hood noticed the ice cream man come. I was still young. I was 17, right? And I was just being vibrant. So I just became a little bit towards going into adulthood. Then I got pregnant at 18. And I was like, I got to share my Kool-Aid, my pickles, my hot sausages, and my slushes with this other person that's gonna be begging. Y'all said how small it is. That shows how young I was. And I was like, I don't want to share. And I was like, nah, this can't be it. But then I learned that in the midst of me sharing, it taught me how to love something unconditionally that I wasn't receiving in my life. So it shows this, and I'm gonna go right to it because I became a mother. What motherhood taught me this. I didn't know what I was doing, but it pushed me into something better. And what I mean by that is this. What I was receiving with all the hardships from the people that was around me that's supposed to protect me, I then became overly that in my relationships with other people. I'm an overlover. You know that. I'm a protector. I'm a mama bear. I'm a nurturer. And I go hard for you. But you better know, boy, you cross me. Ha ha. Y'all remember that out that people give you? You ain't got to say nothing. You know what time it is, right? And it taught me that. It taught me how to be that person that my mouth ain't got to be as big how I was in the hood. My silence speaks volumes. So it taught me how to be quiet. And I'm going to be a little bit dainty like you when because Charlize up here sick and cute like this, but I know her. But I'm going to learn how to be a little bit more dainty as I be around you, and I'll be more girly like maybe cross my leg, but I'm going to still be her. So if I could tell you, the hood groomed the amazing rose, and I'm just telling you, like I told you, I'm a garden just blossoming right now.
Okay. Thank you, Sandy. Okay, we're going to get right back into a few other things because there's some stuff that I actually want to pull out of you. We'll get there in a second. But Charlize, so you, I feel like your superpower is that you care a lot about other people and pouring into them, building them, helping them grow and establish themselves. For our entrepreneurs in the room, or even those who aren't entrepreneurs but are maybe in their corporate roles, how important or how can you speak when it comes down to relationships to empower your team, to empower your employees? How do you do that?
Okay, that's a loaded question. All lies, Sandy. First of all, let me just say that. So I guess I can speak from the entrepreneurship side first. So I've worked with several teams. I've specialized in team building, duplication. I've opened up several offices where I've had to work with different personality types. And what has been very, very helpful for me, because I'm the person that sees the good in everybody. I want everybody to win. And when you have that mentality, it doesn't work. It's very draining. It's very, very draining. It's very time consuming. And the reality of it is that you have to keep the I over the E. And it's the intellect over the emotion. You have to keep it over that, because otherwise you'll fall into, people pulling on your heartstrings. And business is business, and there's a time and a place. So what I've learned is one of my favorite equations, QTQP, that's quality time with quality people. Right? So everybody don't get my time. You have to qualify for my time. I understand that there's a lot of sweat equity that has gone into who I've become, the knowledge that I have. So people have to qualify for that. And when people realize that they have to qualify for it, they treat it differently. I had a mentor that used to say, he said, I had an old couch, and I put it out on the side of the road, and I put free on the couch. What do you think people did? right? They drove past it, right? But the moment he put $200 for sale, someone came and stole it. And people just see, that's just what it was. It's a mentality thing. So you just have to see value. So the quality time with quality people has been a big thing for me. The second part is just really recognizing who the talented, I guess, 5% is. I focus my energy on the top, and then we create what's called the rabbit. You guys have to chase the rabbit. This is the rabbit. This is who gets my time. This is who gets my attention. If you want it, you vie for it. And then you'll just kind of see the cream rises to the top with that. So that's been a learning lesson for me. And then the other question, what was it again?
All right, see, I'm gonna do a better job at streamlining my questions.
Yeah,
because
I get the Dora Explorer everything real quick. The Dory, yeah. What happened?
No.
Okay.
But as it relates to building up your team members, right? Relationships, you have to kind of form those too.
Yeah.
Something that you have always been good at is like this build, break, build system that you have.
Yeah.
So I want you to explore a little bit as it relates to that.
Okay, so we have this thing called build, break, build. And I'm going to be honest, some of these things are just quick things that you can pick up on if you're in management or in leadership, that'll work. But the reality of it is that every person needs to be coached according to their personality types. And so I've taken a lot of time to learn different personality types in business. And it's really helped me in my personal life because you really realize that everyone belongs in a category. Right? And I started to tell myself that I'm only as good a leader, I'm only as good a teacher, I'm only as good an impactor or influencer as my ability to get you to understand what I'm saying, right? So I can sit up here and talk a certain way and feel like I'm doing a great job, but if you don't get it and it's constantly missing it, you have two people. You have one person that just don't want to get it, so you're not my person, right? And the quicker I can recognize that, that's the quality time of quality people. And then you have some people where they want to get it, and then discernment and time and training will teach you how to recognize those people. So for me, I guess I recognize who wants it. I can see who want it. It's the quality time with quality people, and I will pour according to that. In both business and personal, I'm very big on reciprocity. I need something back. I don't deposit. I deposit money. I want something back. And it's a running joke with my siblings and family. And it used to hurt my feelings, but I stand on it now. It'll be like, oh, well, if Lily do something for you, she gonna want something back. I do, okay? Before I used to feel bad about that, but I don't. I realized that I don't feel bad about it because I'm the tree that everyone picks a fruit from, right? So after a while, I'm looking around, I'm like, there's nobody, watering the tree. So at the end of the day, I want reciprocity. I want appreciation. It doesn't have to be in the form in which I give you what I give you, but I need I got your back when I need you, or I got a word of encouragement when you need it, or I see you too. I need that. I recognize that. That's my truth. If you can't handle it, if you don't like it, don't take anything from me. All right? Say no. Use your voice to say no. I'm okay because I don't want to hear it later. You won't hear it later. Just, give me a little bit of, share me a little bit of something back too. So that's it. That's my answer to that.
That's good stuff. It's similar to conversation that I feel like Michael and I have had when it comes down to relationships and with friendships, right? Because we all have those one-sided friendships. So, Michael, any thoughts on this subject?
Well, that ain't working. So with me, I'm gonna just first say this. She's been trying to get me on this, like to do something like this for the longest, and I always said no.
Is it on? Is it on?
No.
Hello? Here you go.
Oh, okay. That's fine. So I'm gonna say like the first thing is like my wife has been trying to get me to speak for the longest, and I'm always like, nah, I'm cool. I'm in the cut. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they said turn that off. So with me, I feel like I had to learn the hard way. When it comes to friends, like in high school, I'm not gonna say I was popular, but I was okay. College, fraternity boy, because I went to college at a late start. But I was popular. I was the face of the frat at one point. I stepped, I strolled. I'm the hype person. I'm everything. I acted. I did a whole bunch of stuff. So it's like at UF, if you didn't know me, if you didn't know me, I don't know. Like they said I was just that person, but I think like I mean that's why she here now. I mean, had to slide it in. But I would say like it got tiring after a while. And Nay, she told me something before because I would just be giving, and she was like, she read a book and she was like, loyalty has an expiration date. And when she told me that, I was like, nah, me and my boys, we loyal, like nah, it's not like that. Because when you really sit back, and I think that's what changed me to who I am now. I'm content. I can stay at home with our son. I don't have to go out. I don't got to do nothing. If you call me, I'm gonna be there. But all that giving and giving, just like what Sis said, I gave a lot. Like it's time for like, hey, who really picking up that phone call? Like, especially when you going through things like you looking like, yo, like I just want somebody to hit me up. Why I gotta hit you up in order to talk about what's going on in my life? Like, so I had to sit back and relax and literally I don't talk to many people. I'm fine with that. Like my call log is the same people. Like I talk to my wife, I talk to my mom, my brother, my best friend, a couple frat brothers, but other than that, I'm cool. I don't got to do nothing. And I had to learn that because it was draining. Because you take on other people's like problems and then you make them your own. I'm gonna solve this for you because I'm gonna try to help you. I'm a problem solver. It was draining. And then when I really went through my time and my spell, and I was just going through it, drinking every day and all that, and I was like, this man ain't hit me up yet. Like I'm gonna call you back, bro. That phone call ain't never happened. So I just let them people fall by the wayside, and I ain't gonna lie, I got so much joy in my life right now. Like I'm good. Like I'll tell anybody that I love what I do. I love who I'm with. I love my family. I love the people who want to be with me, who want to be in my life. They know who they are, and we just gonna keep moving. And I love my quality time by myself. I gotta say that on camera so she know that. You know what I'm saying?
So I think that is important because I think as we navigate through relationships, friendships, there are some times where that loyalty does expire. And as we want to grow and as we want to elevate and go to the next level, it's time to like take inventory on our relationships and our friendships. And not to say that every single relationship has to be this quid pro quo situation. But you do want to kind of recognize, like, what am I getting out of this? Like, how am I becoming better? So whether it's a phone call to just check on me, whether it's showing up. I have so many friends here today that showed up and stood in the paint to organize and help with this conference, right? Can I do the same for them? Maybe not, but I do other things, right? In exchange for that same type of love. So I think finding your tribe and finding a community that supports you and help you in whatever way that may be. Sandy, you do this with your tribe, and it seems like you've done a really good job at relationship building because you do the check-ins, right? There's sometimes where you have randomly sent me a voice note just praying, right? Just praying over me, and it has been so fitting. So tell me about how your relationship with God and how you formed that has influenced your relationship with others. I think your mic is back on, so we're good.
Okay, side note, real quick. I know this live. But,
it's not live, it's recorded. So
okay, so it's recorded to be that. Okay, but all right, to all my perimenopause women, I need some water. Yeah. And can I have a cardboard? I'm having a hot flash. Glory to God. Hallelujah. I was trying to look cute, but it ain't working, y'all. Y'all gonna see me passed out up here, okay? And I needed it. I'm so sorry, sis. I had to. And because I wanted to focus on your question, but I was like, I'm gonna roll on this flow. It was coming, y'all.
Well,
ooh, Mike, come on. I got you. Give me one second. You might want to skip me just 1 second.
Okay.
I'm gonna come back.
So we're gonna let the hot flash stop potting and stop flashing. So, Charlize, all right. So a lot of I want to just out of show of hands, any single women in the room? Yeah, oh, I love how y'all did that. Proud. I'm a single lady. So let's get into some romance then, right? Because we said that we're talking about all things love. Another part of love is romantic love. So I want to hear from you, from your perspective, because I think it's unique from the standpoint that you have been married before, right? And you have since been divorced and now you're single. And I want to just know your perspective first. I'm gonna start because it's a double question. One, I want you to tell me, what have you learned from having been married and making the decision to leave your marriage?
Okay. What have I learned from being married and my decision to leave my marriage? Okay. So what had happened was I was being fast. I was taking my fate into my own hands. Seriously, I've noticed a pattern with my siblings, right? It's 10 of us. And same parents. My parents, they met at 15 years old, lived an anomaly of a love story, right? So what I noticed was just about half of my siblings are divorced. And I thought in my mind, how do we go from seeing this successful love story to half of us being divorced? And so what I realized from my very first boyfriend, I was with him for 8 years, because I'm a pattern person. I got to see patterns, shout out to my therapist friend right there. I just got to study patterns in my behavior. So my first relationship, 8 years from high school through college, and then a 5-year bout, and then I'm married, because this time I'm like, I can't, just give my body away to everybody, because, you're supposed to keep yourself till you're married. I mean, this is the mentality, because, again, my parents are pastors and married forever, and that's that. And what I think happened was a lot of my siblings, the first person we met and dated, we were like, this is the one, we have to make it work, we get married. And so a lot of us jumped into marriage very, very quickly. And so in that situation, I was coming out of the music industry. I left my first love and my heart was broken, and he came in, and, it was that whole 20% theory. He had 20% of what I was looking for, and I just didn't pay attention to the 80. And he was crazy. So I learned in that situation, I remember being in that situation and thinking in my head, because I'm such a driven, ambitious person, I can't quit. I got to stay in it, because I don't want to quit. Am I quitting too early? I just had that back and forth. But then I realized I cannot commit to a life of not being happy. And anybody that knows me, I'm a happy person. They used to call me the love child, right, Auntie Linda? They used to call me the love child since I was little. This is a thing, okay? And so for me, the idea of waking up and not being like that bubbly person that walked out here today, it was just like assassination to just my soul. And I was just like, I can't do it. I don't even know how people do this, And so I'll give it chance after chance after chance. And I just didn't see even the potential of change. It wasn't something that I thought was a real possibility. So I think what I learned from the marriage, outside of all the things that were wrong with him, was with me. Well, right? The things that I learned about for myself was just being patient and really understanding the importance of dating. And like my dad would say, when you date, it's to collect data, right? Data, get that, Glenn Forsey, shout out, baby. So when you're dating, you're to collect data. And I don't think I was really taking my time to collect data. I was painting a picture based on an idea, and I was projecting that idea on a person, and it's not even their fault, because they didn't even sign up for it. So just really understanding that, hey, let me collect data, let me take my time, and let me learn whether or not this is a true mutual fit. So that's what I learned.
Yeah. But I want to stay right here just a little bit longer. Now, on the flip side of it, as a single woman, because there's folks that are dating right now, right? Let's get into some good stuff. What has been some struggles that you found dating at this moment, at this age?
Okay. Now, dating as a woman of God is very different than when I was single dating as a woman who loved God, right? Just two different chairs. So I've always known God. I've always loved God, and he was always a part of my life. I was a PK. So dating and navigating the dating scene for me was not as intentional. So I just ran into I ran into different issues. I was looking for different things like, can you match my boss? Can you pour into me and, take me to another level? Those things that you hear about in these women versus men panels all the time. I hate them. So now Shirley's the woman of God is very, very different. And now it poses a new challenge that I never really recognized. So, if we're dating, we're not really doing the fun stuff. Yeah, we're not doing the woo. No. Because here's the thing. You know how when people have children and they start dating and they're like, oh, if you date me, you got to take my kids, we're a package. It's like, we're a package. So all this time that I've had of being single, and specifically after I lost my dad, I think it was such a beautiful, holy exchange because he took my earthly father, but I got a relationship with a heavenly father that I've never known. And I would get the giggling up here and blushing like I'm really in love with somebody, y'all, because it's really gone there for me. And so, oh, that's my boo. So now when I date people, they got to understand that it's a package. So now I'm looking like, is your spiritual equity like there to where it's not going to serve as a distraction or serve as something that's counter to my walk? Because anything that's a threat to this is a covenant. You can't really threaten that. So that's a challenge, because when people hear your passion for God or for Christ specifically, they immediately think of all the things that they can't do. Dang, so you go to church, so you ain't, I ain't getting her, right? That's the first thought. And some men have been bold enough to say it. And so they immediately think of the things that they can't have. And so for me, it's not a challenge. For me, it just really weeds out the weak. That's not who I'm looking for.
Y'all heard? That's a gem.
Yeah.
Hashtag weed out the weak.
Yeah. So that's been the challenge, I would probably say, if it's a challenge.
No, that's good to hear. Now, Sandy, we ready yet or not?
I'm ready.
Okay.
One thing. Sir, I need you to go by your wife. She's told me I can hold her hand.
Okay.
That's split. Thank you. Yeah, you gotta go.
I gotta go?
Yeah, she's told me because I'm stealing her energy.
Oh, okay.
Thank you so much, bro.
I got you, boo.
Okay. So now, Sandy, on the flip side of things, right? As a married woman, you have you and Pocky. I tell y'all all this time, like your relationship is so just fun to watch.
That's my man.
I know it is. We all know. And if you follow them on Instagram, you know. But you were always, that's my man, right? Always?
You know who taught me that?
When?
Right there,
Yes.
my mama.
She taught you that, but there was once upon a time when you needed to go to her, right? Because you
I didn't
said
like
you
him.
got, filed for divorce how many times?
5 times.
5 times.
Running to the courthouse.
Running to the courthouse. So how are we still here?
I learned how to love me. I wanted him to fix me. I wanted him to, because I never had a love like him before. He was different. You know what I mean? He was patient. He wanted to be my friend, and he didn't want my hot pocket. He didn't want my hot pocket, but I wanted the eggplant, but he didn't want it. He didn't want it, right? I told you, he didn't want it. He was like, I don't want it. And I was like, what you mean you don't want this, boy? He was like, because that's not what we do. He was a preacher kid who knew that. Like, I knew that, but I didn't know that. I thought they do the whoop too. But he didn't want the whoop. But, and it was a problem. I was active. And he put me on restraint. He wanted friendship, and that was a lot. I had friends that wanted the whoop, and I had friends that was like, I'll be a cuddle buddy. And he was intriguing, and it was different. I never had anybody in my life that did not want my body first, or he wanted to know my mind. I have always been this vibing person, but I was broken though. And I had to discover me and know that he wasn't going to fix the problem. And I used to be angry with him because he wouldn't fix the problem, because he's a fixer. He's a problem solver like you. And he couldn't solve my problem. And I was angry with him for years for that he couldn't fix me. And he can make everything else come to evolve and grow, and he couldn't do it for me because God was there for me. Like I said, I knew God, but I didn't know he was my father. I didn't know that he was so colorful and he wasn't traditional and boxed. So when people start to talk that way, I take that as a flag. I was like, oh, wait till you get to know me, because I'm not like that. You're gonna know the Christian that's different over here, okay? And so, I'm a different kind of Jesus juice. And I'm excited about the person I am, and he got to learn to love that. And we went to therapy for him to learn to discover me. And once he learned how to discover me, I was able to teach him how to love me for who I was, because he knew a person that was raw and raunchy. I was a real hood rat. I was from the gutter, and I liked it raw. I liked to be loud and, aggressive and star stiff. So I was that person because that was my environment. I was I was the animal of my environment. My friends reflected what I looked like, but he was gentle and caring and very quiet. That pissed me off, trying to show me what fork was what for fork. I just want to eat. I don't care about the fork and the knife. I don't care that the napkin go on my leg. Get out my face. I just want to eat. And he wanted to teach me etiquetteness, and I didn't like it. I wanted to lick my fingers and put my bowl to my lip. You know what I mean? And slurp. He was like, that's not what we do. So there was a lot of things that he taught me that was just out of my element. And once I embraced his love and who he was and stopped trying to fight, that he was just trying to introduce me into something better, I became better. That's why you're going to teach me how to be a little bit more dainty, But I think, too, in our friendship is that we would be friends. November 30th would make 30 years of our friendship, and he's my friend because most of the time I name my husband Doug. His name is Pocky, but he's Doug when he gets on my nerve. And Doug is just not the person that, I really like a lot. I like my best friend. I like my homeboy, you know what I mean? Because those two people allow me to be me, and my husband wanted me to be collected. And he asked me questions that's pertaining to the fact that what happens if I'm not here? I don't care. You're here today. And he asked me real life questions and stuff like that to prepare me for anything that could happen, how to run the business, how to run the finances, where are our crypto, who, I don't know. That's a lot. What our real estate portfolio look like. These are things that I don't like, and I know Doug is going to bring that to me, and I have to talk to that. I have to talk to him. So I have identified with these different personalities of these different hats that he wear, and I learned to love all of them, and I think I'm going to stay right there. I learned to love my husband's flaws. I had to go back and learn the things that aggravate me. Ladies, like the toilet seat. All I ask is to put the seat down. Put it down. Close the kitchen cabinets. Why is there still open? I don't understand that. You got the sort, close it back. You understand? Did you see the tissue? You put the last piece of tissue off. Put a new roll. It's right there. It's 3 of them on the side of the toilet, right there. But yeah, he don't know how the toothpaste get there. He don't know how his drawers and socks get in his basket. But they get there, right? All I ask for a little is acknowledgement. That's all I ask for. So when I recognize that Doug is not that person, but my best friend is, that's how we have such an amazing, phenomenal love affair, because he is my best friend first.
That's good. Yes. We so happy that Doug is still around. We appreciate Doug and Pocky, both of them. So let's stay right here for a minute, and I want to have Michael, you tap in from a male perspective.
Sure.
I'm positive, I guess, because I invited you here. But we've been through a lot in our marriage, and we've had our ups, we've had our downs. What do you think made the difference, right? Because I give this, actually I'm gonna share this. because I've shared it already
Yeah,
publicly.
you shared it already. So.
So what was it? It was Valentine's Day a couple of years ago at this point, maybe 2 years now.
2 years.
And we got into this terrible, terrible argument. And I told him for the first time, I said, I'm leaving. I'm divorcing you. I'm done. And my husband, being who he is, he looked at me and he said, yes,
insane.
right? Devastated, so upset. I leave, he leave. I know, he's such a jerk.
Right.
Who comes so mad and say I want a divorce?
He's such a jerk. So this is Valentine's, right? Valentine's Day, the day that it's supposed to be about love. And here we are, this is what's happening to us. I rushed out, I went and parked by the gas station somewhere and called my mom. She talked me off a ledge over there, my mother. Not knowing at the same time, my husband had ran somewhere and called my father.
I was outside.
Wherever I don't know, I left, but he was still there. He called my dad. So clearly we both want that done, right? If we were calling people who we knew were the epitome of what a healthy marriage was and trying to seek to get their advice to see what to do. But share with them a little bit about our journey, I guess, and how we were able to, I guess, be on the same couch together, guys. We're still married.
Yeah. All right, so I was a jerk that day. I'm not gonna lie. I was hurt, so that was reaction. It was funny though. I'm not gonna lie. It was funny, but we can laugh about it now. So it was funny. All right, but so I'm gonna say this. I grew up, mom by herself. My dad was in prison when I was 4 years old. I didn't have a man in the house. I had my brother, I had my grandfather, my grandmother, my mom. That was the house. That was our household. My grandfather was a simple man. His job with my grandmother, what I saw, when he get that paycheck, you give that woman that money. That was it. It wasn't no lovey-dovey except for Valentine's Day, Christmas, birthday. That was their relationship. My mom dated, but it didn't work out. So my brother was my dad, you know what I'm saying, everything like that. I had uncles. Bomb. I didn't know love. I'm gonna be real with you. I didn't aspire to be a husband. I always aspired to be a father. So with me, and my wife knows this, like, we have that conversation. I was like, marriage, it would eventually come, but I grew up without a dad, so I'm like, when I have my son, my job, like I want my boy, I'm gonna be there for my son every single day. My wife suffered because when we finally got our son, my focus was on our son. My wife was just, we just cohabitated, you know. We were just there. We were trying to make things work. We were both unhappy, I'll say that, but we didn't know how to express those emotions. We didn't know how to talk. It seemed like we was roommates. We was just two ships passing in the night. We knew what was what. And it was bothersome. I'm not gonna lie. It was very bothersome. And when you see a love story with mom and pops, you know what I'm saying? You see certain things and it brings it out of you and you like, okay, I didn't have a dad, but that's my dad. You know what I'm saying? Like, I call Pops MJ. That was Michael Jordan to me. He did everything. That man was, and I'm about to tear up because I love that man. So it was like me going to him and talking to him as a man. Granted, I didn't like every conversation we had, but that's the father-son conversation. I didn't have that. I could talk to my brother, but my brother 4 years older than me. So me as a man, it just sucked. So with me and my wife going through it, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm Mike Wood. That was my mindset. Yeah. Girl, you should be happy that you got me. I'm me. Cause no, and I don't mean it in a big-headed way. I meant like, I don't go out. I'm not one of those dudes that go out. I don't go to the strip clubs. I don't go to clubs and none of that stuff. I'm home. I'm a homebody. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take care of the home first, and then everything else is like, all I ask is just give me some time to smoke my cigar, have my me time, but everything else you're not gonna want for anything. Like, there's certain values and certain things that I grew up with. Everybody gonna open a gift for Christmas. You say you want certain things, I I will eat, because my wife did it before. I will eat less just to make sure you have what you want to have. You want a BMW? We gonna figure out a way to get you a BMW. You wanted red bottoms? Baby, you gonna get the red bottoms. I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna share an embarrassing story. I bought her a fake Louis Vuitton purse in college, you feel? We got real stuff now, you know what I'm saying? I made sure. So, but I realized, like, even though that's monetary, as men, we gonna get you the monetary thing, but we not feeding you spiritually. I'm not understanding my wife, because I'm like, what you tripping for, girl? Like, we got food. You got gas in your car. I do so much. Like, what you talking about? Like, you don't pump your gas. Like, what you tripping for? And it was more than that. It was, but you not with me. Like, I'm with you, but I'm not with you. And I think I still don't get it sometimes. I'm not gonna lie and say we perfect up here, because we still, like she just said, open the cabinet. Well, look, like, flush the toilet and stuff. I mean, put the seat toilet down. Look before you sit. You know what I'm saying? Like look down before. But that's why we got separate bathrooms and stuff. But you know what I'm saying?
Hello.
But it's like, as a man, I've always loved love. So don't get me wrong. I always love love. I'm a grown man with daddy issues and everything like that. And it's like the healing part. I'm not healed, but I'm better than I was the day before. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the main thing. So when it comes to marriage, like, we were about to call it quits. I was like, all right, whatever. I called Pops. Pops was like, well, when you made your vow, I asked you 3 times, are you going to be able to leave your family and make what's work with my daughter? I was like, you right. And we had to figure out a way. My wife, we did marriage recomp, which was a great thing. That she found, created, and put her spin on it, and we did it. And I think that's what saved us, where we finally got on the same page. And the one thing I want to take away, because I don't want to be up here talking too much, I used to tell her, like, I'm not your enemy. I'm not your enemy. I'm not the person who doesn't want to see. I want to see you win no matter what. And I told her before, like, we're great people, but we have to get on the same page. Like, if you Kobe, I'm Shaq. We gotta be on the same page, where if you want Finals MVP, that's separately, but I want that championship for the household. You know what I'm saying? I want us to get on the same page, where at the end of the day, as a family, as a cohesive unit, we are winning together. And like, it's like that championship mentality. Like, Wood Legacy is a thing that we say, and that's what I believe in. Like, we're not just doing this for us, we're doing it for our last name, our families, our son, and like, that's what it's about.
And and just to build on that, what as he was referring to the marriage boot camp, like, we really spent like 5 weeks of just purely just made intentions to dedicate ourselves to our marriage with God included in it, right? And studied the fruits of the Spirit together, dedicated time and carved that out. But the idea of it formulated from a conversation I actually had with Janelle. And I say that because so often we'll hear, like, don't tell people your business. I was raised by an old school mama. And so she, every now and then, she'll be like, you can be telling too many people your business. And I get that, and it's true. But I realized, because growing up in college, that's when I started having more friends. I didn't necessarily have friends like that growing up. But college exposed me to Mike Wood. And Mike Wood had all the friends.
Household name, I'm just telling you.
Which meant that now I had all these friends too. But it exposed me to friends who are actually, like, who feel like family. Yeah. And who I trust so dearly with my deepest, core and parts of me. And I think that's why things like this is so important, because I don't think it's about not always being able to talk to your friends about things or telling people your business, quote unquote, as much as it is telling the right people who also speak to God and can counsel and direct you to do things. Because if you're telling your business to the homegirl who is bitter or sad and don't want better for you, then hello, girl, you need to leave him. All that, no. Instead, getting friends that tell you, you know what, Chanae, I just see the number 5. This is exactly how the conversation went. The number 5 in my head. you guys need to study the fruits of the Spirit. And I don't know why the number 5 just came up in my head, but just something that the Lord is talking. You need to study the fruits of the Spirit. You need to just dedicate the same time that you dedicate to your fitness. Do that to same concept for your marriage. Just do it like a body recomp, the same concept. And that is exactly what I did. Exactly what I did. I got another confirmation in going to church that same weekend, and my daddy was preaching a message, and he was like, the fruits of the Spirit will fix it. And I said, what in the world, God? Okay, and I said, all right. And I was done. I was so done in my marriage at that time. And so God used Jeanette.
Chill out, homegirl.
I forgot he was up here, y'all. I did. I'm not gonna lie. I was ready. I was really over here. No, but at that moment, I was at a very low point. And so if I had not, gone over, vented, cried, shared, been vulnerable, then how would I have gotten that word from God? And then how would I have gotten that next confirmation to say, do it? And when we did that together, those 5 weeks really did a lot for us.
I'll say one more thing with that. It was because we talking about relationships. Had them tough conversations.
Yes.
So I'm gonna be honest. We had tough conversations, but we ain't dive in it. Like we ain't really like ask them questions because one person may want one thing out of life and another person like as y'all can see this is all her. Like this out of her brain. This ain't me. I'ma support you, but I wanna make sure like, hey, like that's not me. I'm not that person. I'm just gonna do this. But she's a go-getter. She's always been a go-getter. I had my time, was like, yeah, I'm gonna go for that. Then I just was like, I'm good, I'm straight, I'm fine, whatever. So it was like we had to know that for one another. Like what Sandy said, like her man, I'm not gonna call him Doug Pocky, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got you, bro. Like he got a certain way of doing things, and I think with her it was just like we did marriage recomp, and I'm not gonna lie, as a man, I'm like, she's out of it, I'm out of it. I ain't doing this thing. Like I don't care about this, and I'm like, but it actually worked. Like it was like we weren't just having regular conversations. We weren't just talking about God. We were having those tough conversations to basically get us recentered and realize like, okay, I actually do like you as a friend. Like I love you as a person, but I like you as a friend. Okay, well, maybe I like you a little bit more now. Like I didn't know you viewed stuff like that because we'll harbor on to certain things, or when we talk, like, why they talking to me like that? Like, what's going on? But it's like, okay, hey, let me ask you a question. Like, why you was talking to me like that earlier? And it was like, I didn't even know I was doing it. It was like, I got hurt feelings, but it was just how she talked. And I had to understand that. It was just how she moved when she did certain things. And same thing for me. I got an attitude problem. I know this about myself. So, but it was like, it was a hard day at work, but I'm taking it out on her without realizing I'm taking it out on her. So we had marriage recomp, and I'm like, okay, well, bomb. And then one thing that we did was Sunday check-in. And I'll say that was one thing. Like, did I do anything to offend you this week? Like, and because I didn't know. We not keeping tally or nothing like that. But at one point we were. I was like, oh yeah, on Monday you did this. Like you said this to me, and I'm about to. But then it became like, instead of a Sunday check-in, it was just like we were just talking regularly, like every morning, hey, let's just tap in for a minute.
Yes. So definitely including God in our relationship really made all the difference. Talking about, I guess, difficulties sometimes in relationships, family, right? Relationships with your siblings. Ooh, relationships with siblings or cousins or any family members can be challenging at times. So Lily and I, Shirley's, my bad. I gotta call her Shirley's in front of other people. So Shirley, that doesn't even sound right. Lily and I, we're one of 10. So our parents have 10 kids. And so very, very vast personalities and so many different strong personalities, right? And we've had to navigate our family relationships many times, up, down, still are, right? A lot of us. So let's talk a little bit about how how have you had to navigate challenging relationships with your siblings?
That's such a loaded question. Whew. So 10 siblings, that's 100 relationships, like each way, right? That's a lot of relationships. And I think the add-on to that is it's 10 kids, it's 7 girls, okay? 7 girls. 7 girls. So 7 girls, 3 boys. And I think that navigating all of the personalities, my mind is just seeing everybody's faces flashing through my head.
There's some trauma there.
Yes, a lot of trauma. A lot of trauma there. So I'm the middle child, if there's a middle to 10, but the majority of my life I grew up as a middle child. And my sister calls me Moesha. She always feels like I'm always in everybody's business, trying to like solve everybody and problems and putting my neck in the place of everybody and trying to act as this bridge. Or if I feel like someone's going through something, it's my job. Somehow it's my job to help them solve the problem. And taking on that role, I was talking to my brother Pocky and Sandy the other day. It caused a lot of stress on me that I didn't realize. And sometimes I still don't even realize. I looked up one day and my house was full of kids and they weren't mine. I don't have any kids. But I was taking care of everybody's kids. And I was like, how did this happen? And I realized that and I don't want to go super righteous, but when you sing when you dating Jesus, this is what be happening. I'll be talking, he be revealing. So one thing I realized was with my heart as it relates to my siblings and their kids, the enemy weaponized my heart, right? So in my head, I would tell myself I'm a loving person, and I held on to that identity because I love that about myself. You know, I remember one time I got fed up and I was telling my dad, and I'm like, I'm just not doing nothing for nobody else no more. Everybody can just stare at my face. I'm just talking my stuff. And he said, baby girl, you bubblegum got too much sugar in it. It don't stick to the wall. I don't even know what that means still. I still don't know what that even means. But I guess he was trying to say that you too sweet, or you're not supposed to hold on to stuff or something. I don't know. But my takeaway was I started to get mad when people would say, oh, Lily, you're going to get mad or you're going to get over it. I started really getting upset. I got offended by it. Or, you know your heart's just this. And then I would say, I feel like my heart was like a blessing and a curse. You know, I hated it. And then I started to realize, how do you hate Christ's heart? This is how Jesus loves. That doesn't even make sense. So I had to check myself about that. But what I really had to understand as it relates to my siblings and navigating relationships with them and anyone else is I need to get out of God's business. The same way God made me fall on my face to come before him and humble me, and he took me through the ringer and I learned certain things. And as a result, I got to a certain place with him. I'm robbing other people of that experience in the name of a good heart. Okay, so I need to get out of his business. And so when you end up getting your feelings hurt and you're feeling like, oh, this woe is me. Yeah, because you're out of place. You're trespassing. I didn't tell you to do that. You didn't ask me if I wanted you to do it. You did it because you got little good feelings in your heart to see someone have an aha moment. Or, you saw them go from here to here. I ain't had nothing to do with that. That was all you. So this is like a trial and everything. I'm still constantly learning. I'm in the paint. My mama be on me, And what I do appreciate about her is she'll see me about to make a decision that's wrong. And I be getting mad at her sometimes because she made me do it recently and I was mad because it wasted a lot of heart energy. But she'll just be like, I'm like, Mom, what you think? You think I should do it? She do the head tilt. She do the head tilt back. And she's looking down at a 75-degree angle, That's her way of saying, I wouldn't do it. I don't want to rob anybody else's blessing if that's what you're supposed to do, but I wouldn't do it. So now I've just learned to navigate in these relationships. Is this me with my good heart, or is God really telling me to do this? Yeah. So that's been my takeaway with that.
For me, it's been a lot of, I think it's God. I know I'll be blaming. It really God, because I really was kind of at a place when it came down to my relationships with my a lot of my family members. I was at a space of like, I'm good, I'm straight. Like I don't want to mess with them. Like very cut off, very cutthroat when it comes.
Yeah, we're different.
Yeah, we are. We are in that nature. I was at a place in my life where I think I put so much more emphasis on my friendships.
Yeah.
Because my friendships were showing up to me a little different than what my family relationships were like. And so I started to see myself investing more in my friendships and neglecting some of my family relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And then me having, and like you said, like it's weird. We grew up in the church. We grew up as pastors' kids. You know God, but I was in a relationship with God. So when I became a relationship with Him, I think that exposed me and showed me that I gotta love Him the way He loves me. Like I gotta love others the way He loves me.
Mm-hmm.
I have to provide people with the same grace that He provides me. So I was able, I would say, to have better relationships with family members, because now it's like, if I want God to accept me, flaws and alls, I got to start accepting the people in my life, flaws and alls. And sometimes it's a matter of like, that's just who they are. And in some cases, you don't have to deal with them. You can choose to say, like, if that's who you are, that's who you are. And I don't want no parts of it. But then there's some relationships where it's like, okay, it's like my mom gave me this advice when it came down to me and my husband. And I was just dealing with a lot of things. And she gave this advice about a banana. And she says, if you have a banana and there's a little bit of brown on it, what you gonna do? Are you gonna throw the whole banana out? Or are you gonna break that little brown off and you're gonna eat the rest of the banana? And I started to just really take that on with all of my relationships, whether it's at work, whether it's with friends, family members, is that sometimes like the whole fruit is not bad. And I'm just sitting here want to cut people off because that's like easier for me to do. Yeah. It's to just do, instead of having tough conversations, it's much easier to just be like, I ain't gonna say nothing to do no more. Like, I'm just gonna not answer the call, that's it. Or I'm just gonna let it fall off. But to have those difficult conversations, it requires, I think, a higher level of maturity. And for me, I found that growth through my relationship with Christ.
Can I add to that a little bit? I found that tolerance, right? For people that you love, people tend to have this level of tolerance for like their sibling. I'll look, and I'm very protective of my nine. I don't care. I love my siblings. I love them, all of them. I love them. They can be crazy. They can be whatever, but that's mine, okay? And in my mind, when it comes down to tolerance, I would sometimes look at people make up with their friends or their man faster than they would their blood. And for me, I just always felt like, how, Sway? Like, how does that?
Yeah, I want to eat it.
Yeah, I don't understand it, but I think that's something worth really exploring. And I think people say, oh, because you hurt me deeper or because it's closer. Isn't that more reason to kind of like lean into it? And I'm not saying that you have to keep unhealthy people around you. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that I just think that you have to be mindful of that tolerance level. Like, why is that? I can just cut you off, but my homegirl who did X, Y, Z, you know, we're gonna make up. You know, I don't know. That's just not. Yeah.
Just I'm gonna do one last question, Sandy, and because we're talking about relationships and in family relationships in particular, and I wanted to just talk about how your healing process. You shared something with me when we were on the phone, how your relationship with your your relationship with your biological mama, how you had to just accept some things for what they were and then accept it, move on, and now you use that same, now you're able to love people differently. Oh, yeah. So your healing process, if you could just share that briefly with us to show how have you been able to heal?
Okay, so a lot of people don't know how to, I went to therapy, my new friend. I've been in therapy 11 years. Shout out to Christy. And then I learned I have had mother figures in my life, but I have never And I'm not doing this because she's here. I have never had a mother figure like this one. Mom for she was so bold with not caring about my feelings. Do y'all understand me? Oh, y'all don't understand me. She did not care about my feelings. And I had never had somebody to love me that did not go on with emotion. She came in with, she was building a foundation that was broken. And she was going to do the repair. And what she said, the repair only is going to happen because of you, and stop making excuses. Because excuses leaves all the cracks in the foundation. Because I wanted to be a victim. And I wanted people to feel sorry. I'm getting emotional. I wanted people to feel sorry for me. Because I was the victim, but I didn't have to be the victim. My mother wasn't that person. And when you get to be loved by somebody else, Mom, it's different because you have to tread lightly because they belong to somebody else. But being able to take the relationship I had with my mama and take that to therapy was different. I learned how to find me and look for me in the mirror and not look for my mother, not look for my sisters and my grandmother. I had to look for me. I came from this background, but they wasn't the resembled person in the mirror. And we're not taught that. I don't need to look for them in the mirror. I need to look for me in the mirror. I need to look for those little girls in the mirror. I need to look for those teenagers that's in the mirror. I needed to look for that young woman that was in the mirror looking for a man to fix her. I needed to look for that girl that was raped and molested. I needed to look for her. I needed to look for that teenage mom that didn't know what she was doing. I needed to look for that broken wife that was in there that was married so young and trying to figure it out. I had to go find her. And then I had to go find the woman that I wanted to be. That's it. And that's what I couldn't see. I couldn't see the woman I wanted to be. So when I became that woman, she was the first person I told. I told her. I said, you are part of my reflection. She is. And she's a part of who I see because she was hard on me. We don't need enablers. I don't need somebody to trauma bond with me. I need you to set me straight. I need you to hear me, but don't enable me in my foolishness. Yes. Don't relate to my brokenness. I need you to see different even if you don't believe it. Tell me something different so I can keep moving. Don't keep me stagnant because you want to be my friend. I don't need that. When my niece came over to me, y'all don't know I was outside crying right here because I was having an episode. And she came over, and it was nothing to be said. She knew exactly what to do. And you know what that was? It was just to rub my leg. There's no words to be needed. My sister saw me out there. She said, what's up? I was like, I just need to hold your hand. She said, you sit by me and you pull from me. See, so even when you broken, there was 2 people here that knew I was broken. 2, y'all didn't know. And they lent me their energy to lean on. They were my branch. And that's what I've been doing since 2016. I've been repairing. And I am to do this because I'm able to borrow somebody else's energy until I'm able to stand again. Because they love me unconditionally. And I'm able to give that back out when I need it. Didn't know that I was gonna give her what she needed in 15 minutes because I'm just me. But God said, when I pour the oil on you, I'm gonna pour enough to share. That's what he says. So you gotta be that person to understand it. So I love that I'm just, how can you say, I'm so unique. you know, and it's loud and it's vibrant, but it can be raunchy and raw too, and I don't care. I don't, because my loud is different. I held a whole stranger hand that became my sister by the time we finished the conversation. Portia is Rochelle is my best friend back here, okay? And I don't even know her last name. But there was a rocking that was just going on that was just that gravitated. And I don't know this baby name with this hat on right here, but she bullied me yesterday and I fell in love with her. We were hugging and kissing before we left. You know how that was? That's because I'm vulnerable enough to let God use me however he wants, and he'll send the branches to water your garden. You will get the fertilizer you needed if you're open to do it. And I didn't like women. My nieces know I ain't like women. I didn't. And then God gave me, you don't mind me saying anything about my community? Absolutely. Listen, you don't go on nobody else's stuff and say stuff, okay? You don't do that. So you make sure you ask permission. So I have a community that's the OSH family. God gave me that because I got tired of social media. Because I became a social media influencer I didn't put in no application. I'm just me, and people started to come and look. And I was like, okay, cool. So then my daughter said, well, you got 150,000 people that follow you, Sandy, mama. So now you got people now you're a social media influencer. I said, but Instagram will give me no application. You know, I didn't apply for this. She said, no, that's what you just become. I said, well, I'm not going to hold up the requirements because I didn't apply. You know what I mean? So I never took on the clout or the responsibility because social media told me that I was popular. I was popular already. So they don't get to tell me I got to follow along with what they did, the guidelines. I'm just me. And then I think just overall, the person that I become, I just draw attention because God restored me. And it's just so funky and it's contagious. That's what it does, right? So my community, I asked God to give me something different that was just, I can say this is my family, in my community. And I checked them too. I just checked them on Sunday. Shout out to OSH. Y'all know I got in y'all. Okay, I'm gonna go back. Anyway, but yeah, so I had to get on them Sunday. God was like, hey, if y'all ain't getting together here, we out. That's my man. We be out of here real quick. We got freedom. So I dropped them in a heartbeat. There's nothing attached to me other than my man. You feel me? So at the end of the day, I would drop, you out of here. You know what I mean? It's cutthroat. That's just what it is. And I told my community, I say, hey, keep acting up. Watch how fast y'all come on here and say, there's no scheduled program right here. No more. And that's just what happens. Like, it won't be no more. But then they acting right now. They acting right now. OSH acting right now. And it took that to say that the realness of that. And then I have a sisterhood in there, Madame's Corner. My niece got the shirt on. Yes, you know what I mean? I'll be so excited about my women, y'all, because I did not like women. I'm so recovered, My name is Cassandra Holmes Justin, and I'm a recovering addict that did not like black women or any color women, okay? And now I'm restored because God has restored that in me. And I love women, and that's how you are in my life because I love women, sister. And I'm so proud of my family, my sisterhood, my nieces that's in there because I told them, if anybody started clicking this, I will pull up. I can fly out, I can drive up, get it together or get out. And we get to talk realness and rawness about it. As you saw that when you first met me, I know you didn't think I was going to be that way, but I am. And I'm just upfront and just very open and transparent about who I am. And I love that you are doing this and that you asked me to be a part and invited me to be a part of this journey. And I got your back. I got a lot of years of hiccups, but I got way more years of wisdom and love just to pour into you if you would just let me be in your life.
Look at the love. This is why this is the love panel, because you exude that, and y'all will get to know a little more about the work that Sandy does with OHS tomorrow at our brunch, because she is a recipient of the Girls Award. Nobody.
I am.
And I've said this publicly, and I don't care. I say it again. Nobody got as many submissions as Sandy. It was insane the way our emails were blown up, and the impact that she's shown, that she's had on her community, was known from the stories that people wrote about how you love them and impact them and encourage them. Like, it really was a whole thing. Have one more question? Okay. I want to just explore a little bit more as it relates to relationships with our parents. for me, like I have very great relationships with both of my parents. And I think a lot of it stemmed from just transparency and being able to connect on a lot of things. It wasn't until though, but there was some, I would say, hindrances in my relationship with my parents where I could have been closer to them than what I actually was at that time. And my husband helped me a lot with just being like, be transparent, tell them how you feel, be honest. And a lot of times we have these things where you may be thinking something in your mind, holding something against somebody, and they have no clue, no idea, would not have known. I think a lot of our relationships can just be solved from as simply as just having conversations. So, Michael, I know you knew that it was.
I knew.
Okay, long as you know.
I knew.
So you have, I guess, a challenging relationship with your father. And how are you healing from that?
So, once again, my dad was locked up from the time I was 4 years old to 24. And I'll say this, like, my mom, my dad's side of the family, my uncles, my aunts, everybody did a great job. I'm gonna say my grandfather, but I'm gonna say my dad's dad. They did a great job. We went to visit him all the time. I could tell you Orlando, I could tell you Wellington, I could tell you South Bay, Miami, I could tell you everywhere. The halfway house, tell you everywhere we went. And it bothered me growing up because I would visit him and look like, all right, I'm playing checkers, oh, no touching and stuff like that with him and all this. And when every time we was leaving, I'm like, why he not coming with us? And it bothered me every single time that even I didn't even want to go visit him. So fast forward, raised by two wonderful women, my mom and my grandmother, my brother and my grandfather. That's my family. I was 16, played football, got hurt, didn't want to go back. So right before my senior year, I was 17. And it was either going into senior year, either you gonna work or you gonna play football. Senior year, you got all the stuff to pay for. So I decided to work at a summer camp, make some money. To a 17-year-old, $10.35 an hour was great back in them days. Like, you know what I'm saying? 2003, that was a great time. $2,000 something, oh, that's great. I'm gonna help my mom out. My dad called one day, oh, I heard you not playing football. I was like, yeah, I'm not playing. I'm working. Oh, I'm so disappointed in you. And when he said that, it clicked. I was like, you what? I'm disappointed in you. How can you be disappointed in me when you not here? So that started the rift in me and my dad's relationship. I don't have a relationship with my dad. He's alive. He's out of prison. He's seen my son, I can count 7 times since 2021. I'm sorry, I'm going to be honest. But I'm going to be honest, so I don't have a relationship with my dad like that. Now, what has helped, though, was therapy. I will say that. So tackling with therapy was like a lot of resentment and grown man with daddy issues. That ain't cute, you know what I'm saying? But it was just like doing it. And I had Pops, and you know what I'm saying? I saw what a man was supposed to be like. And Pops was trying to, hey, you got to forgive your dad. It's kind of hard to forgive when you feel like you ain't did nothing wrong. Bible say, honor thy mother and thy father. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to do that. So even now, it's not the best, but it ain't as bad as I thought it was in my head. If he comes around, he comes around. If he wants to talk to our son and he wants to talk to me, I'm here. But me going out of my way, it was like I felt like a child shouldn't have to go out of their way to be in a parent's life because I didn't ask for you to bring me here. Like, you had a part in making me. So with me and my father, it was like, I'm gonna say my father, like I talked to him about like, hey, please get these like thoughts out of my head. Please get this hatred out of my heart. Please allow me to become a better man. So when it comes time for me to have kids, like, boom. So now I got my son. My job is to be there for my son every single day and to show him what a man looks like. I told Nay, from the day she told me she was pregnant, day we found out it was a boy, I hollered because the night before she had me thinking it was a girl. Cause she's singing songs to my little girl. I'm like, that might be a boy, chill out. Like, you know what I'm saying? But when we found out at the gender reveal and that blue smoke popped up, it was just something like, hey, I got my son and I'm just gonna be there for you every single day, no matter what, because I didn't have that. My brother taught me how to play football. My brother taught me how to play basketball, ride a bike. My first grill, my brother, you know what I'm saying? My wife says it now. She'll put me on a song. All right, whatever. My brother put me on that same song 2 weeks later. Hey, man, you heard that thing? And she'll be like, oh, because my brother's my dad in my eyes. Like, that's how I feel. So I just love the fact that, like, I'm healing still. And don't get me wrong, it's a long process because I felt this way since 2003. We talking 20 years now, like 20 years. And I'm like, I'm just at the point where I can at least tolerate him. She'll tell you, he'll text me. What Robert text me. Yeah, it was like Robert text me. And I'm being honest, like I know it's recorded. I'm sorry, I'm just being me. And I'll be like, all right, hey, let me FaceTime him back so he can, hey, what's up, man? How you feeling? You took your medicine, you good? Everything all right? Hey, Aubrey, come here, say what's up to your granddaddy. You know what I'm saying? I had to accept him for who he was because if I'm living with that hate in my heart, I'm not any good for my son because I don't want my son to grow up being disrespectful. I want my son to realize, like, that's your relationship with him, and I don't want to be the reason why you don't like your grandfather. That my relationship and your relationship is different.
I want to follow because I don't want to leave you. I have, and I'm not trauma bonding.
No, good.
But I want to let you know this. And I think it's a part of the question that I shared with you about my mother. My mom is alive. My mom is, I think she's 84. And we have not been in each other's life for, like, physically or verbally in each other's life for 2 years. This was not my action, but I did learn how to understand and respect somebody's space. And I'm gonna tell y'all something, and I hope this helped you. What I recognize is that my mom held the title mother, but she is a woman. Don't miss that. Before she was my mother, she is a woman that lived her own life that became my mother. And the woman that she is doesn't like me. I had to accept that, and I had to learn how to love that. So when we take titles off of people, you will learn how to love them respectfully and honor them. She is not my mother because she doesn't act like a mother, but I treat her with the respect of the title that she holds in my life. That's different. This is hard for people to do because we are taught that mama get everything. Mama get everything. Let's go by what God says. Show me my mother. He told Jesus this, that earthly mother and father and family that's yours must reflect me. Let's not get this twisted, y'all. Because they hold a title does not mean they supposed to reciprocate. What you genuinely give is your heart, and they get to break it and break you, and you got to do all this repair because they hold a title. No, the woman that is broken in her do not get to break me. So I will love that woman that's in there unconditionally from a distance. And I will honor her if I see her. But I will not have a relationship with somebody who has the power to break me. Remember that. Take titles off of people and look at them for who they are. And if they are here to drain you and destroy the work that you did, you better monitor it correctly. It will suck the life out of you, and you will have to start over, and they're going to go on being the same broken, dysfunctional, toxic person that they are, all because you think that you're loving them, and God said that is not your business. Get out my way and give them back to me. You honor them and you love them unconditionally. 1 Corinthians, 13? That's what it is, Mom saying that right? Is that to love them? You love them, right? Is that what it is? You love them unconditionally? I think it's 1 Corinthians 13:1. It's one of them in there. And what you do, you love them unconditionally with no record. And you leave them right back to God. That's what you do. You understand? I hope y'all, if y'all ain't take nothing other way, know that. Don't let nobody suck the life and repair out of you that you did, that you healed because they hold a title in your life. Holla at me.
Can I see the peace signs, y'all? Apparently, that's what we're doing. But I really hope that y'all enjoyed this segment. I know it wasn't the traditional conference style on love relationships. We see this often. But at Envision Me and at Raw Mate, I'm not here to feed you the same old, same old. We come to conferences all the time. But the reality is, once we leave out these doors, we go to our real lives. And this is your real life where you have, you're trying to navigate relationships with your parents, with your siblings, with your spouse, right? These things are real and it affects all of us. And it's so crazy to see how we can have plans for ourselves. We can envision our future and then not plan for a breakup, not plan for a disagreement with a sibling or a sister. And so what do we do when that happens, right? It's that we still have, and at the core of all of it, the center of all of it is always going to be our faith. Always going to be a higher power, our source being God, to give us the tools we need. The same way that Nikki and Malia and Paki got on here and said, like, the blueprint is in the Bible for entrepreneurship. It also is when it comes down to our love lives and every aspect of it. We can get all the answers there to navigate these relationships. And so I'm so happy. This has been another episode of All Things with Chanae Lavette. As always, I am your host, Chanae Lavette. And this episode, of course, as I've told you, you're at Envision Me Conference 2025. And so we hope that you enjoyed yourself. I know you enjoyed yourself because our people are funny and get a good time, okay? So until then, we'll see you next time, friends. Thank you. All right.